Hi everybody, it's me, Carrie, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Farmington Hills, Michigan. I am excited to be back for another volume presentation. This is for August 2023. That hostess code you see is also only available for this month as well. And I want you to know this is a pre-recorded video. So while I will definitely answer your questions that you post, you will not hear me verbally answer them. I will be watching during the event, and afterwards I will go back and check for any additional questions. So ask away and I will get to your questions as soon as I can. So let's get started. So for those of you who were lucky enough to get the kit before it sold out, you know you're going to get a package like this full of all of the things that you need to get started. The package also included the directions for all of the cards, and it lets you know what inks and things that you need. Now, Stampin' Up! Does have on back order the awesome paper Florist dies. I'm sorry that many of you could not get them in time, but if you would like to be on my waiting list, please DM me, comment below, or email me. My email is MemoryINKers@gmail.com. Shopping Stampin' Up! Is MemoryINKers.com. But I will put you on the waiting list and let you know as soon as they're available, which is not going to be for at least another month. So let's get started. Aside from the dies, here's a few other things that are used in this kit should you want to purchase them before completing your project. Now remember, in your directions, I did say watch this video first before you start cutting everything out, and then you can come back and watch it again if you have any questions. But I'm going to show you how to put the flower pieces together. That is going to be probably the most of this video because time is limited. So one of the projects does have our real red and gold dotted ribbon, which you see here. This is an online exclusive item. You can only get it at my online store, MemoryINKers.com. Look for online exclusive. Those are things that are not in the catalogs, so you'll want to check that area out. All of my sentiments come from the awesome Go-To Greetings. This is in the annual catalog, so you might want to look at that. You have a few pieces I've pre-cut for you from the Stylish Shapes, and we're going to be using these great reverse hinged tweezers. They come in the, I believe this is called the Embossing Edition Toolkit. It's $27 and it comes with the tweezers, embossing buddy, a brush, and the awesome pail. Okay, so that's, oh, and the inks. Almost forgot. We're going to be using Memento Tuxedo Black, Old Olive, Moody Mauve, Petal Pink, Boho Blue, and Real Red to complete these projects. But of course, they're your projects, so use what makes you happy. All right, let's get to flower making. I'm starting with the flowers on this beautiful card. It is in basic black and smoky slate. You will find in your packet the half sheet of basic black for your card base, a plain piece of smoky slate, and one that I have pre-embossed with you. This embossing comes from the 3-pack, which is also an online exclusive, like I discussed with the ribbon earlier, of 3 different embossing folders. You're going to love them, and you're going to see all 3 of them in your kit. So those are set aside. And then I have pre-cut out all of the flowers, and I've put a couple of them together for you. But I want to show you how I put them together. We're going to start by using the Moody Mauve ink, and I did forget to mention that we're also using the blending brushes. These comes in packs of 3 and 2 different sizes. The smaller ones are 3 for $12, and the regular size ones are 3 for $13. You're going to love them. Those are in your annual catalog. Now, I label mine by color. As you can see, this is my reds, and I'm considering Moody Mauve a red. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take my flowers, and these particular flowers, you can use a lighter pink if you want. This is Petal Pink cardstock, which you do find in your kit. And then I'm just, you can see, tapping and brushing the edges of the flower. And I'm going to do that for all 3 of the sizes. I'm also going to do that for these little tips. Now this is where having the reversible tweezers comes in handy because these are pretty small. So it is nice to have something for you to hold on to. You can, if you choose, do the same things with the things that are cut out in Old Olive and Granny Apple Green. Totally up to you. So let me get those colored in and I'll be right back. Now, I've got them all colored and I am going to show you how to put them together, but I want to show you where they come from in the dies. Here, right here, right here. This is the stems for these little guys right here, and those are this die here. And you will notice when you punch them out that one of them is larger. All three of them are a little bit different, but the larger one does go to the center of the stem. These little guys are all out of this little square here. They are just fun little accents. You can highlight them with your blends brushes if you would like, but they will be a little bit more difficult to do. The leaves, as you see here, here is that one. This one does not have this one on it, but the other ones do, and you can see it has stitching in it, as does that one. This piece right here is this white piece, and then this is from here. But you see you have other circles that you can do. You've got two dies for the pistil. I believe that's the pronunciation for the center of the flower. And then this little guy, he can make a sun or a flower. I'm going to show you one of the ways you can use this. There are several. Then we've got this one. This cuts out all four pieces, two each of two different sizes of the flower. And there's a couple of different ways to use it. This piece cuts out this shape in two different sizes. We're going to do something with this. Is a half of one. Now I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that. This piece right here makes a rather unusual flower, and if you use several of them, you can see how putting them together will eventually turn into this beautiful shape. But they start out like this, and there is two different sizes, so it's just a matter of layering them together to get the design that you want. As you see, I am collecting all of my little extra pieces because they're very cool. Now, this piece you have to cut out a few different times to create a flower. I have some of them ready over here. We are going to put that together, time permitted, but that is where you may remember I showed this. That is what makes these big, beautiful flowers. And as you can see, I have like, I think 9 to make each flower. So you would have to cut that out 3 times. Okay, and then I think there's only one more to show you here. This piece right here, that is kind of fun. You can use it simply as an edge and see how it cuts out. You can put this just on the edge of a card, but if you roll it up, if you're doing a 3D project, look at how cute it makes a little center of your flower, or a flower in its own right. So it's very, very cool. So all of the pieces make leaves or flowers or of some kind like that. Okay, let's put some flowers together now. You see I have colored these in, which you do not have to do. And I am going to just take my fingers. You can use a bone folder, but honestly you might tear it. I just take my fingers, I'm going to turn it upside down, and see how I'm just kind of rolling them around my finger like so. Just giving them a little curl. I'm not getting too crazy with it. And I'm going to do that for all 3 sizes of the flower. Like so. And then you're just going to put a glue dot or a dot of glue in the center, and you end up with this style of a flower. It's so pretty. And then of course you're going to put the little pistil or stamen or whatever you call the center of your flower. I am not a flower person, just FYI. Now this is also used as a center of a flower. As you could see, it certainly would look just as pretty with that in the center. But for this, I am going to use it as a flower itself. And I'm going to just put this little piece right in the center. And now I have just kind of a crazy looking wildflower. They kind of remind me of what my mother used to call milkweed, which I always thought were pretty, but she told me they were weeds, but I don't know. Then somebody else told me a weed is any flower that's growing where you don't want it. So there you go. Now, here is this little sunflowery style flower. This is how I did this one. I just crushed it up. Just smushed it as much as I could in every direction. I'm not being particular. I'm just getting it kind of wrinkly. And then now it has some shape, as you can see. I hope you can see that. And now that makes a flower. So those are the basics of how to use all of the flowers. So now I'm going to show you how to put this card together. Okay, I have most of my flowers together, but I wanted to show you how to put this one together. All I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over because I did darken it just a little bit on the tips of the flower stems. And I'm just putting a little bit of glue. And like I said, you're going to want to grab the largest petal and just slide it onto the back like so. I like to use liquid glue, which you can find many places, but of course you can find it on my demonstrator website at MemoryINKers.com. But they just pop on there and they just look like little buds. And they fit pretty perfectly. So you do want to watch so that they don't stick out the sides. Let me show you what I mean. You wouldn't want to put it on like that because that just looks wrong. So just get it into place and there you go. And now you have this beautiful little stem of flower buds. So super simple. You're going to just fold your cardstock in half and start putting your pages together. So I've already done that as far as scoring it, and we're going to grab the little pieces and put it together. Okay, so I've started to put the flower together. I'm mimicking exactly what I did before. What you're going to see though is I wanted to show you this little guy. I am going to put just a kind of a decent sized glob on there, and I'm going to just push him down into the center. Now he's going to want to move around for a few minutes if you're using liquid glue, so just give him a second to hold in place. And now remember I told you I took this and I cut it. That is where these stems come from. So I'm just gonna go ahead and paper tear them because you're not going to see it anyway, right? And I'm going to put just a little daub right there and set that on top to create two little leaves. Of course you can use the leaves from here, but I wanted to show you that there's more ways to use these dies than just the way you think you're supposed to use them. It's more fun to be creative, don't you think? And you can see I've used liquid glue, so some of my flowers are still thinking that they're supposed to move around. Now for these little guys, that is a little bit of a chore. I will admit that. You're going to want to just go ahead and drop a dot where you want them and then place them down and hope they don't stick to your finger. And punch them out in as many colors as you want. If you looked on mine, in my basket, you would see there's quite a few of those floating around because, I mean, when you cut them out, you get 4, right? So I have a bunch of those. And then for the happy birthday, you see, I cut it off. You don't have to. If you want to leave it just like that, you can, or you can grab your paper snips and just trim it down and then put it onto some Stampin' Dimensionals, and you've got your happy birthday. You just have to remember to put it right to the edge so that the cutoff doesn't look odd, right? So now on this one, I did not add any ribbons or anything. It's just pretty simple, but I did add gems. Now, unfortunately, I am sorry to say, the gems I used on my samples are no longer, they're on back order also, just like the dies are. But I did send everybody a full pack of the beautiful rhinestone basic jewels, which you can color. And I'm going to show you real quick how you can color them. just take any alcohol marker. This happens to be one of our awesome Stampin' Blends, and you can color it in. And then look, I've got a beautiful blue jewel. You see a couple of different colors there, which you can then use on your card. So any alcohol markers will do for that particular thing. Then I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool, and for this one I'm just going to go ahead and use the rhinestone jewels as they are, just so that you guys can see that it's going to be just as pretty with the plain rhinestones on there as it is with the fancy ones. Okay, that one's, oh, there it is. They slide away from me sometimes. So we'll set you there. And then here's one of the smaller ones. And of course, you can see they're placed around the card. So basically, that is how these flowers and this card comes together. And another one should go in the center of that one as well. So let's move on to the next card. This card is fairly simple to recreate, but I did want to show you how I put together these pieces of Designer Series paper. This is the size of Designer Series paper that you receive, and you see I used it this way. So let me show you, even though it's in the directions, how I cut down this piece. I wanted it to be 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I'm using our awesome paper trimmer. So I'm going to go here to 4 inches. I'm going to save this piece, and then I'm going to go to 5 1/4. Then I want this one to be 5 1/4 also. You can save these other little pieces so that you have them to line your cards with if you want. I believe I did that on my sample, though you guys did not see it. See, I did put that right there. Now this piece of basic white is 4 by 5 1/4. You've got plenty of basic white in your kit to do that. So now here's how you very simply put this card together. Just obviously fold your card in half and grab my bone folder, and then this is for the inside. Then I'm going to take this piece and this piece, and I'm going to flip it over. So now you see where that beautiful lavendery color came in. It's the same Designer Series paper, and this is our nice bright, it's called Bright and Beautiful, I believe, Designer Series paper. So the reason I like to do this before I put it on is because, I don't know about you, but I'm not a perfectionist, although this is pretty darn close. So sometimes I put it on and then I just cut off the excess afterward so that I have that. So we're going to go ahead and glue this down, and I'm going to show you real quickly how I put on those beautiful buds, just so you guys can see it. Now, this piece is up on Stampin' Dimensionals. But for right now, I'm just going to show you very quickly. I've pre-colored, and they are done in Balmy Blue, Basic White, and Moody Mauve. And then they've just been highlighted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 2 bluish color ones, and I want those in the back. So I'm just going to put a little dab on each of the flowers. I'm going to move this just in case I make a mistake. I don't want it all over the card. And I'm trying to keep the stems all pretty much in the center of this shape. This is also a fun punch. It is, the name of the punch is written on your directions. I'm sorry, I don't know. And since time is the essence here, I'm not going to go look it up. And then I'm going to take the Moody Mauve one, because the color is different, and put that in the center and slightly off. Like so. And again, if you're using liquid glue, you do have to give it just a minute. Then I've pre-tied your bows for you, and you will notice that there's an end of it where I have folded back on the strip of adhesive. This is our tear and tape adhesive. That helps it pull off very easily for you, and then you can tie your flowers together. So now you see that that's going to go there onto Dimensionals. Now, this time I stamped just a note. Again, that is from the Go-To Greetings. And I am going to Both of these are cut. This is a little, it's not quite long enough. So I'm going to cut it in half, and I'm going to just put, and these little shapes are the pre-stitch shapes are already cut out for you and part of your kit. So you can take these and you can extend them as long as you want. If you're a perfectionist, count the dots. Then you'll know that they're exactly the width that the same distance apart. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to kind of eyeball it and make sure your stitches are going the right way. You see mine were not, which is why I flipped it over. But see, now you can see how I got the extended tails. Now these are much longer than the ones I did on my original card because I wanted them to not be exactly the same. So you can decide which one is your favorite, and then that goes up on dimensionals as well. Before I get to another card, because my time is running a little bit late, I'm already into 20 minutes, I want to show you that these pieces do have a little slit in it. I have seen some people go like this and make their flowers, you imagine doing that the same way, and make their flowers like so. Okay? And then just keep layering them on. What I like to do, however, is I like to take a piece of something strong like a glue dot or a tear and tape. I prefer the glue and the tear and tape, but because of time, I'm going to go ahead and just use a glue dot, and I'm putting it just behind this piece right here. And then there's a little fold line. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little fold line there. And then you can cross it over, and if you curl it, then you can see you get several petals that you can then layer to make these beautiful big flowers. Now, I did not highlight the yellow that I was showing you, the lemon lolly, but you can see that's how I made all of those big flowers in this beautiful frame. This frame is available on Amazon. I do not have an affiliation code. Just go look for it, but it's really nice. It even has a canvas background. And the canvas is like padded slightly. So if you wanted to use pins, I just used adhesive. So that is just an idea for you. So that is how you're going to put those together. It's totally your choice of which way you want to do it, but I didn't want to forget to show you that. Now we're going to talk about this card real quick. You can't tell it in the pictures, but it opens on a slant. So what you're going to want to do is you have a pre-scored piece of thick, this is our thick cardstock, and I always pre-score my thick cardstock. It just makes it a little easier. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to trim it off at 6 3/4, and that is going to give me the shorter front. Totally up to you. You don't have to do it. You can leave this piece on and just stamp your sentiment right there. But I wanted to be sure I showed you that piece of how then I have this wonderful opening. You can stamp your sentiment, and then your flowers will just go on the edge. Just remember, when you're adhering them, you only want to put your adhesive on one side of it, like so. That way, when it is closed, it is not getting adhesive on this part. So you'll just line them all up, okay, as you see fit, okay? Now here's where I use Petal Pink ink on this basic white, and then I use the Moody Mauve, which is this color, to do the Petal Pink actual flower. In your kit, you have 4 of these gems. These are called flat adhesive backed pearls. They're a little bit unusual, but they look wonderful on these pieces right here. So I gave you 2 big ones and 2 small ones, but look at how nicely they go onto these cards. Obviously mine are not glued down, but you would go ahead and put those on to your project, and you end up with really an unusual look. Plus they're flatter, so you can see that. So they're going to go through the mail really easily as well. Now I'm not going to make this card for you, but I wanted to show you what those flowers look like when you just leave them flat. and no edging on them. Look how cute that is with 3 different colors on those little buds. And then this little note, this was just stamped and then cut by hand and matted by hand. And then add some gems. This is another one of those awesome backgrounds that I told you about that are on the online exclusives, the 3 basic embossing folders. So now let me show you another one that uses the 3rd of the embossing folders. You can see it here. And the thing I like about this is this one, if you can see that carefully, this one I have the flowers kind of going in. This way they're going out. It's totally up to you which way you choose to use it. Again, this is where that beautiful ribbon came in. And this is real red. And these flowers, I don't think I taught you how to do these flowers. So I'm going to just show you really quickly that they simply layer on top of each other. This is the one that I used for the leaf. You can do 2 large, 3 large, 4 large, whatever makes you happy. Put a small one in the center. So you've got the different flowers. And notice here, this is all just the tiny ones. I just used the tiny ones repeatedly. And you get a different size flower from each. And all of them are done differently. This is done with 3 of the large pieces. This is 2 large pieces and 1 small. And here's 3 small flowers. So you can see you can do a lot with them. The other thing I want to show you about this card is one of the things you received is a partially embossed piece of basic white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my real red, and I need a scrap, so I'm going to grab that because that was where my notes were. And I'm going to grab my red blending brush, and I'm just very lightly going to color this in. Now, if you want to be perfectly perfect with this, you could take a piece of paper and go like that, so that if you wanted to get it really dark, then you could get along the edge and have a straight edge. So there you go, and that is for the inside of your card. As you can see here, I did this one in the wild wheat, so it would match that. But this one I just chose to show you another color because I didn't have my wild wheat next to me. So there you go. So now we just have a few minutes left. So I want to go over just a couple of things really quickly with you. You can shop Stampin' Up! At MemoryINKers.com. That's my Stampin' Up! Website. You can email me at MemoryINKers@gmail.com. If you are shopping with me and you're spending under $150, because remember at $150 you're going to get hostess credit, please use this hostess code for August 2023. 3 S as in Sam, Y as in Yo-Yo, E as in Edward, 3 E as in Edward, 4 A as in Adam. And that is how I can give things away. So I really appreciate that. Also, to remind you that if you are interested in this full kit, or just want to be on the waiting list for the paper florist dies, please email me, DM me, put a post down here below. Yes, Carrie, I want to be on the list. I will need your email for that, so it's probably faster if you just email me, because that's how I'm going to send out the word that they're going to be available and take pre-orders. Also, so many of you are still interested in my Trucking Along bundle. This is awesome, and you know the punch is also not going to be available, I think, until October. But several of you are already on my list for that. So don't forget, you can be on the list for both or for one. Totally up to you. Now, with the holidays coming up, don't forget to tell your friends and family. If you want Stampin' Up, they can order gift certificates from me. And what they'll do is they would send me money through PayPal or Venmo. And I would then, they would tell me how much they want the gift certificate. I would send the gift certificate along with a handmade card to them so that they can fill out the card and give you the gift. And then you can shop with me for anything that you want. And if the gift certificate is, say, $50 or $100 and you go a little bit over that, don't worry about it. You can pay the difference. That's not a problem. Also, if they want it sent directly to you, I can do that as well. But some people, you know, they ask, especially us moms, what do you want for Christmas or your birthday? get a gift certificate of something that you love. Otherwise, you're going to get another dinner certificate or a massage. Not that those aren't great, because my son works at a massage place. So yeah, they're great. But I mean, we love them. But if you want crafting items, give me a call. Okay, my 30 minutes are up. I'm so sorry. Have a blessed day. Enjoy the rest of volume. Don't forget, I'll be checking your questions right after this. Bye.